It's Monday, June something or other. It all blends to this old man. I'm the Prez, and you're watching First Pitch with Dave Cokin and a very special guest, Dr. Chuck from sportsmemo.com. And Dave, we'll go to you second, but first, Dr. Chuck, you look 15 years old. Are you actually a doctor?
I am actually, yes. And I'm unfortunately not 15 anymore, but yeah.
How do people take advice?
A lot of Doogie Howser shit.
I'm 15.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe not.
How do people take advice from a doctor who doesn't shave?
Hey, I do. I have to shave at least twice a month. So
Twice.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing you're on week 2 without shaving.
Yeah, this is a pretty good growth here, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. So what kind of doctor are you?
I'm a pharmacist.
Oh, they count?
They do. I have my doctorate. Yeah. So
I'll tell you.
I'd be a pharmacist because I want to push pills. So.
Let's get some drugs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got
Dave
Dave
needs some.
Dave guy.
Dave needs some oxy.
Yes.
So
I don't think I do that. But.
So I have a doctor on my hockey team. He's a chiroprac, and a few years ago, one of the hockey players on the other team got injured. He's lying on the ice, and my chiroprac teammate skates over, and he's like, "Move over, I'm a doctor. Let me look." And then one of their teammates jumped off the bench, skated over, and said, "Move over, I'm a real doctor."
Ooh.
Oh damn.
Yeah,
that's what I would get. I'm sure.
That's why it reminded me. They would be like, "You're a pharmacist, dude. Move over." Yeah. Anyway, Dr. Chuck, everyone, from sportsmemo.com. We're really excited to have you, and we'll have you often on the show. We do the show 5 days a week. You can find it at our YouTube channel, WagerTalk TV. Guys, as you know, we go through every game on the board. Today, we only have 7, thank God. And we're going to start with Toronto and the Yankees. Before that, Dave, good weekend?
Yeah, okay, until the Mets game yesterday. And the aftermath of that game was really something. Some problems in the Mets clubhouse. It was a writer from Newsday who apparently, I don't exactly know what he asked or said to Mickey Callaway, but I imagine it had something to do with Callaway's bizarre, and that's the nice way of putting it, bullpen usage at the end of the game. Brings in Lugo, who was clearly not sharp yesterday. He got through the 7th inning. This was after pitching 2 innings on Friday. And sends him out in the 8th inning, doesn't have Edwin Diaz warming up. Lugo, who's on fumes at this point, gets lit up, 3-run homer by Baez. Game over. And then afterwards, Callaway exploded at this reporter from Newsday. Jason Vargas wanted to fight him. Ugly situation there. It was a crazy day yesterday in baseball. Just an insane day. I mean, if you had the Padres, they did something that's almost impossible to do. They blew a 3-run lead in the 9th, and then they blew another 3-run lead in extra innings. That basically never happens. The Dodgers did something that's never happened before, ever. They had their 3rd straight game with a walk-off game-winning homer. Well, if it's a walk-off homer, obviously it has to be game-winning. And all 3 were done by rookies, which is it's unbelievable how deep this organization is. And finally, the
different rookies.
The bad beat of the day had to be the Cardinals and Angels over, or going over. If you had the under, it's 2-0 going into the 9th inning. You can't lose. Until 8 runs were scored, 4 by each team in the 9th inning, as the bullpens once again kill a total. So a lot of crazy stuff in baseball this year, but I think the topper yesterday was the explosion after the game between the Mets and Cubs. And does that play into that segues into the Mets-Phillies that we're talking about here to start things off, Matz and Eflin. I just can't imagine the Mets are a happy team. They've had some internal issues prior to this, and I look at them as being a go against in this spot. I know the Phillies have lost about 40 in a row. Gabe Kapler has to be shaky turf right now, I would think. And my numbers actually indicate the Mets here. But I think the situation, as bad as it is for the Phillies right now with the losing streak, what happened yesterday with the Mets at Wrigley and what happened after the game, I think, can be one of those things that kind of tortures the clubhouse. I would look at the Phillies here.
Dave, it could also galvanize the clubhouse too.
Good.
You know, it wasn't only Callaway that was involved. I mean, there was a pitcher that rushed the reporter. The team had to hold him back. It could have the opposite effect and actually be a very positive rallying point for the Mets. I wouldn't be surprised if the Mets won every single game till the end of the season.
That I would.
Yeah, no, I'm kidding with you. Yeah, Phillies playing the Mets tonight. About 64% of the tickets written on Philadelphia right now. One game over 500 and 6.5 games out behind Atlanta. They need to start winning. They're minus 130. You've already told us your thoughts on this game. Good spot for the Mets, but wrong spot for the Mets. Over and under is 10. Mr. Doctor, Pharmacist, Chuck, what do you like in this one?
Well, I understand what he's saying there. I probably lean a little more to what you said with the galvanizing, only because the Phillies, and I mean, you did say they lost 40 in a row, but they just got swept by the Marlins, and they're just kind of really reeling. And you said Gabe Kapler might be a little shaky turf right now. They're a little bit less against lefties anyway. They are back home, but I mean, I don't know if it's, or I mean, they're home anyway, but I don't know if I could play on the Phillies, period, until I can see a little bit of a change there. I would lean more towards it's galvanizing and the Mets winning every game for the rest of the year, like Prez said there. But if I had to take a side here, I'd probably go Mets, although it feels like a pass. I don't even know if you could take a good gander on the total, except for the hoping that the Mets get into the bullpen and you can go an over on that. But yeah, I'd be Mets or pass.
Yeah, I'm with both of you guys on this game. I can't find a bet on it either. Blue Jays versus the New York Yankees. Blue Jays are rolling. They woke up today. That's about as good as the Blue Jays get right now. But they have won 2 in a row. They won the series against Boston. Yesterday's game 6-1. Good pitching, good hitting. Obviously, that's not going to last. New York Yankees minus 250 to 260. Over and under in this game is 11. Sanchez versus Sabathia. And Dave, we speak about Sanchez all the time. I mean, this guy is a relief pitcher. His last 3 starts have been utterly disastrous. God, he's got close to a 14 ERA. You know, CC, not much better. Just under a 2 whip in his last 3 starts, a 1.37 whip in his last on the season. You know, I look at this game, I see the number 11. I know it's high. I can't bet the side or the total, but I would lean towards over the total in this game. Dave Cokin?
Kind of tough to argue against that because Aaron Sanchez can't get anybody out right now. His last 2 starts have been unspeakably bad, and now he gets to face this Yankee lineup. So pitcher in bad form against a Yankee lineup that is just killing the baseball. There's just no way for me to make a case on Toronto. The flip side is I can't lay 250 with CC. He's been pretty good at home. The ERA at home is really good, 2.19, I believe it is. His advanced metrics at home are not as good. So some flukiness in that ERA, but the Yankees just a vastly superior team. No interest in Toronto and no interest at this price.
Dr. Chuck, I mean, CC Sabathia, pretty inconsistent, though. Pitched outstanding against Tampa Bay in his last game out, 6 innings pitched. And then the start before that, it was a disaster. 4 innings pitched against the White Sox. I can't lay this type of number with somebody so inconsistent. Where are you going?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, this is not the type pitcher who is in any kind of mode or age to lay anything in this vicinity, even with, I mean, I suppose they're going to throw out at Sanchez. He's going to face probably LeMahieu, Judge, Sanchez, Stanton, Voit, and Encarnacion, his first 6 batters. So it might be 6-0 at that point already. But either way, do you trust CC? I mean, the only thing valuable is to go on the run line. One of the things that I was looking at is CC laying 240 or more. First 7 years of his career, he was 34-9. There's only been 6 occurrences the last 7 years, and he's 3-3 straight up in those games. So I mean, it's a ridiculous price that they're basing it on name, and the Blue Jays just suck. As much as I hate using adjectives, that's what the public thinks, and they're going to still get Yankees bettors on this number. So it's worthwhile for them, and then we're going to stay away.
I don't mind the run line for the Yankees in this game. Obviously, you don't want to take a home team on the run line, as you only get 8 innings.
Minus 145 on the runs line.
Yeah, I know, but Dave, you look at the Yankees, 49-28, that's 21 games above 500, and yet they're only up 7.5 units of profit for their customers on the money line. They're up 12.5 units on the run line, and when the Yankees win, they normally do win big.
Well, yeah. Look, it's obvious. It's an obvious play. Yankees should win the game by multi-runs. The problem is, if you're laying minus 145 on runs lines, you're not going to make money in baseball. I can tell you that.
If you like fading Sanchez, you get all 5 at bats in the first 5. Just lay it.
Look, here's what if you want to go against Sanchez, you play the Yankees team total over.
Yeah.
Forget everything else.
Guys, the Yankees have won 8 of their last 9 games. All 8 they covered that run line. And 6 of those 8 were all at home. Listeners, I know one of the rules, you don't tease over 0 in football. Don't take home teams on the run line. These aren't biblical rules. I think the Yankees are money on the run line. I think they're money at home, and I think, Dave, you said it. I would not be surprised if they win by 4 or 5. I would even look for an alternate line and go all the way up to Yankees minus 2.5, and then you're going to get some nice money on the back end there. I think this is going to be a lopsided game, and I think we're seeing the start of the end of Aaron Sanchez as a starting pitcher. Kansas City versus Cleveland. Cleveland 42-35, second in the AL Central, and playing really good ball right now. They're the home favorite at minus, give or take, 185. The over and under in this game is 10. Kansas City won yesterday 6-1, but they have lost 3 of their last 5 games. And Cleveland really rolling. Look, Detroit's not a good team, but they went in there, they hosted Detroit, and they laid the smackdown. 8-3, 2-0, 7-6. They've won 5 of 6. They've won 8 of 10. Their pitching is starting to get better. And Plutko, I mean, he's had an outstanding last 3 games. A whip under 1, a low 3 ERA. Again, here we got another big favorite. But I think, I don't know how you can bet Kansas City, Dave.
Oh, well, I'm not going to bet Kansas City. I'm also not going to bet Cleveland. I've expressed previously, Adam Plutko I don't believe he's a big league starter at this point. Maybe he'll improve, but I'm not. ERA and WHIP are not real big categories for me. I prefer to look at the metrics, and his metrics, they're just not very good. Fly ball pitcher. So if Royals get a couple of men on base, there is the possibility that they could definitely take one out and get a few runs on the board. Brad Keller is arguably their best pitcher. With all that said, you can actually make a case that the line is a little bit cheap here. I could see this being $2, $2.10 on Cleveland. So minus 175 range, and it's gone up from 150. Was 150 actually the opener?
They hung it at 150. I don't.
Yeah, I got to tell you, that's a mistake on my part. I should, I should have just jumped on the opener. Not going to do it now, but I would lean the Indians here.
Dr. Chuck, I want to know your opinion on the side, but I'll tell you, I think 10 might be a big number in this game. I actually like under the total in this game. You know, you look at Kansas City, they won 6-1 last game, great pitching. Their hitting has been better of late, but this is a large number, and I think Cleveland's going to keep the Kansas City bats somewhat silent.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Utko is a different animal than some of the other Indians starters, as Dave was alluding to. Still like any of the Indians pitchers and an under, especially in the division. It's usually a bargain. I mean, it doesn't. Shane Bieber is about as good as it gets at keeping them under, and it's not always just the pitching. It's the fact that the Indians are winning, but kind of playing down a little bit. They're not, they're not crushing the ball on a regular basis. I mean, they intermittently do, but I mean, if they were going to be playing the Royals in a situation with Keller, which, you could argue a couple different guys as the Royals' best pitcher, but it feels to me like you were probably getting to, and a bargain as well if we could have gotten that lower price. It almost makes you wonder if it got to the 200, if there might be value on the Royals because of just what does Vegas know by hanging a 150 there. It screams to me like a 4-2, 5-2 type game, and I'd go under, and I also kind of like that first 5 under.
He's Dr. Chuck. I'm the Prez. Dave Cokin with us. You're watching First Pitch every day, Monday to Friday, at our WagerTalk channel, at our YouTube channel, WagerTalk TV. Dave and I have Teddy tomorrow. Should be a great show. Chicago White Sox, they have Boston today. Boston's obviously been playing much better of late. They're still 8 games back in the division. I mean, obviously lots of time, but they need to start winning and winning a ton. 42-37 on the year, Boston, and down 14 units for their customers, whereas the White Sox are 36-39 and up 8 units for their customers. More tickets on the White Sox today than Boston, Dave. Sure. The White Sox plus 155, give or take. Boston minus 175. The over and under in this game is 9. The White Sox lost 2 in a row against Texas. Boston lost 2 in a row against Toronto, which is absolutely shocking. But they have won 7 of their last 10. Rodriguez versus one of your favorite pitchers, Dave, Lucas Giolito.
It's one of everybody's favorite pitchers now, which explains why there's more tickets on the White Sox than the Red Sox, according to what you just said. I don't really check that stuff, but I'll take your word for it. The sharp market, though, is on Boston here. This line's going up 20 cents. Giolito finally had a little bit of a hiccup last time out. I'm not going to suggest that he's going to start to go the other way. It takes more than one start to indicate that. Eduardo Rodriguez has been very good at home for the Red Sox. I mean, his numbers at Fenway are, again, I'm looking more at the metrics than the old school stuff, but they're pretty solid. I think this is a fairly even pitching matchup. Red Sox lineup is better. I can't say I agree with the line movement to where it is, and I think the value, if you want to use that word, might be a little bit more with the White Sox now based on the fact that the line's going up as much as it has. But it's not going to be a play for me. The Giolito market is, in a sense, at least overrated, and that's why the sharp money's coming on Boston here. The Giolito market is now, I won't say overrating him necessarily, but they've caught up. The market has caught up to how good he is, and so the real value on Giolito is no longer there.
Yeah, and also you got to take into account that Boston, just lost 2 in a row against Toronto, and they can't afford a extended losing streak.
No, not really.
I just think this is a bad spot for the White Sox. Dr. Chuck, what's up with you?
Yeah, I agree. I not saying I don't buy Giolito. I buy him. I do think he is being overrated. It's interesting, though, because you said the line's up to 155 or more and opened, I think, 130 or maybe.
No, the line is up to 175.
Yeah, yep. It's as high as 75 now. Sharper outfits more in the 65, 67 range.
Okay. Yes, right. And I did notice that it's closer to 50-50 on tickets, maybe a little bit more on the White Sox, and yet the line's going the other way. It's
right.
I think it has to do a little bit with, right, people are catching on to Giolito, not to mention he kind of looked like he was going to maybe be a bust after that trade. It makes you wonder now which he's turning into his potential that the Nationals are thinking with, the way things have gone with them. If they had 4 starters like Scherzer, Corbin, Strasburg, and Giolito where they might be, and avoiding having to call in the bullpen period, I would lean towards the Sox. It reminds me of the Indians game we just talked about. If we had gotten it a little bit earlier, it would have been a lot better value. Hard to back them after getting trounced by the Blue Jays like they did, and the White Sox are playing a lot better on offense. They tried to do their part for Giolito last time. Eduardo Rodriguez actually is, I mentioned in our notes that Kikuchi yesterday got an over again, and he's 15 out of 17 going over, and Eduardo Rodriguez is right behind him at 13. And so his team, he's got the most run support metric-wise by far. He's the only starter getting 6 runs from his offense per game, and if you're going to go one way or the other, maybe Giolito bounces right back, or maybe this lingers a little bit, and you get a pretty good value on the total. I think it's sitting at, it dropped.
There are 10s on the board.
No, there's not.
Oh, there's not. I just closed the window. Yeah, I'm looking at the next game.
9 basically everywhere.
9. Yeah, if I was making a play, which might be I feel like one of the better plays of the day that we've gone through so far would be the over in this game.
I got to text my kid. Maddie, please take Vegas outside. My dog needs to go outside. My dog's called Vegas.
Hey, great name.
Dave, speaking of Giolito, the pitcher who faced him last, John Lester, did not look good. He's on the mound today, 7 ERA in his last 3 games, but getting a lot of run support, which is probably why the total is 11.5, and they're playing Atlanta. Atlanta's gone over the total 7 of their last 10 games. I've been telling everybody all year long, if you're a first-time listener to the show, I've been betting Atlanta blind from start to finish, and I'm up pretty good money. They're 44-31 to the over. The Cubs are 40-35, and just to really quickly talk about this total here, 11.5 is a massive total in the National League, especially not in Colorado's park. I don't want to bet over 11.5, but I'm keeping to the system and just betting these Atlanta games over blind. So I am actually betting over 11.5. The Cubs are the favorite team here, the home team at minus 135-ish. Atlanta is playing exceptional ball right now. They just beat a hot Washington team 2 games to 1. They beat the Mets 2 games to 1. They beat the Phillies 2 games to 1. This team is simply in the zone. And Chicago has come down to earth. They've lost 2 of their last 3. They've lost 6 of their last 10. I don't know what to do here on the side. I am betting the over, but I wouldn't bet this over in isolation. It's too high a number. Dave?
Well, it's high because you've got the wind blowing out at Wrigley, and that's what influences the total.
Yes.
So it's going up from 10.5 to 11.5 with the wind conditions, and the fact that you've got pitchers here that you can argue against both pitchers. Tehran had been rolling along, but there had been signs that there might be a decline coming because he's been walking people, and that's not a good thing for Tehran, and it caught up to him in his last start. Lester's he's looking like an old guy.
He is an old guy.
And I'm saying it kind of looks that way right now. His numbers are they're bad. I think 115 where it opened was too cheap, and it's gotten up to a price that's probably where it ought to be right now. I lean Cubs here because I think Tehran might be due for a bit of a swoon, and while I can't support Lester, there are other aspects of the Cubs that I can support. So lean on the Cubs. It's not going to be a play for me in all likelihood. You might get a ton of runs here with the wind conditions being favorable to the hitters.
Mr. Doctor Pharmacist Chuck, what do you like here?
Yeah, I actually like I like the over. I got 10.5 though. It's 15 to 18 miles an hour the whole game going to right center. Yeah. It feels like it's going to be a tough one for especially Tehran. Dave mentioned metrics, and Tehran has not matched up with metrics all season, and I've been fading him. Not always has it worked out. He did a pretty great job of keeping his job when they went after Keuchel. If you had said about a month and a half ago who was going to be the first guy out of there, it would have been him, and then Gausman just blew up completely. But Tehran held his own. He's showing signs of cracking. Like Dave said, you clog the bases in a park that is going to have pop-ups go out, it's going to be trouble. You're going to get multi-run home runs, and I think it could be coming from both teams because Lester, I can't trust Lester. He might do the same type of stuff. I feel like this might be a game where it's already 4-4 or something after 4 innings, and we're already into the bullpen. Feels to me like a really high total. 11.5 is tough to back. Sometimes I think that there's just a total. I hate betting big overs just because I like pitching and I like defense and I like lower scoring baseball. But sometimes there's just a number they can't get high enough, and I think this is one of those spots. A couple of pitchers I don't trust, a park I don't trust with the wind blowing out, and if there's going to be a game that has multi-runs in most innings as opposed to a bunch of bagels, I'm pretty sure it's going to be a bunch of runs. They just can't get high enough. 11.5 might even see 12 by the time the game comes.
2 more games to go, and we've got an absolute pitching gem in the Dodgers-Arizona game, but an interesting number on the total. Kershaw versus Greinke. Both pitchers are pitching outstanding and extremely consistent. These two pitchers pitch 10 times, and you're going to get 7.5, 9 of those 10 times. Yet today we have an 8.5 on the board. And I think it's because of the hitting. I mean, you look at the Dodgers.
Because of the roof. Apparently the roof's going to be open.
Okay, and what are the...
there's a huge difference in this ballpark when the roof's open as opposed to closed. So 8.5 tells me the roof's open. And fly balls they really travel when the roof's open at Chase.
Well, and the Dodgers are hitting a whole lot of them.
Boy.
Do they have a 4th rookie that could hit a walk-off home run today?
They'll call one up.
I mean, you look at the Dodgers here. They've won 6 in a row, and what's most impressive is their bats. 6.54, 9.99. 3 games with 9 in a row, and one of those against Baumgartner. Arizona, they're also hitting. I mean, look, not at that type of pace, but 3, 4, 5, 4, 4. Both teams are in the zone hitting-wise. Arizona has lost 6 of 7, though. And Greinke lost his last game to Colorado. We've got the away team favored, but barely. The Dodgers at minus 135 to 140. It's probably about as short a line as you're going to get on Kershaw. Dave, do we take it?
I think the number's right where it should be. I mean, you got to give Zach Greinke loads of respect. He's pitching great ball for the Diamondbacks. This guy's a machine. He does everything well. He hits well. He fields well. Smart, cerebral pitcher. Kershaw's been solid. The Dodgers are really tough to go against at this point. I think it's priced right where it should be, about $1.30 with the Dodgers favored, maybe a shade more than that, 135. Unfortunately, what does look like a great pitcher's duel is mitigated somewhat by the conditions. I mean, you get fly balls tonight by either pitcher. If there's a man on base, could go out of the park, multi-runs. So this is one where I think you're going to see a bit of a conflict between the market and the sharper money, with the sharper money showing on the over and the public probably buying the under with Kershaw and Greinke on the mound. Total has gone up, full half, from 8 with the under slightly juiced to now 8.5 with the under juiced. So the money is definitely showing on the over in this game, and I'm not going to be on it myself, but I just can't disagree with that direction based on the assumption that the roof will be open.
Guys, but well, first I got to get your thoughts, Dr. Chuck, and then I want to talk about some stuff. So give me your opinions on this Dodgers game.
Yeah, it's really not that surprising of a line. I don't think Greinke's been getting anywhere near the respect that a lot of pitchers get. I think he's about one of the best things going all around. Like Dave said, he doesn't get anything in the vicinity of a line like these guys get. Like a Sale gets game in and game out, and a Garrett Cole gets game in and game out, and just it's really interesting how much value there is on a lot of Greinke starts. This is at home, and one of the things that I had said in the notes was, almost never is Kershaw a dog pitching, period, no matter where it is or who it's against. And surprisingly enough, at a line like this in the 130 to 140 or less range, he's just 12 and on the road. He's just 12 and 13 straight up. And other than that, he's damn near 70% just about every other place. And I think this is one of those spots. They've played in the same division 4 years, and this is only the second time they've faced off. So it is, like you said, it's a whole lot of fun fading Clayton Kershaw. In a fading, I kind of like the over. I don't know if I'd want to get an over where I needed 9 runs, where it is now with the 8.5. But I did at that 8. I was thinking the same thing. This is pretty strange. This is either a really disrespecting look at Zach Greinke, or something's going on here, and this is going to be a 7-5 game.
He's Dr. Chuck, Dave Cokin with us. It's first pitch. One more game to go, but before we get into that, just a quick roundup of what's going on at WagerTalk and Sports Memo. It's $9 Tuesdays, $9 Monday at both WagerTalk and Sports Memo. Every play on the board is $9. And guys, I just got to mention Bobby Liggs. This guy's WNBA is ridiculous. He is 63% lifetime in the WNBA. He just won his last 3 games. People, there is a huge sale on at WagerTalk. His WNBA season and playoffs is regularly $695. It's $279. And people, listen, we get a ton of you listening on a daily basis. 63%. This guy is going to triple your bankroll before football starts. I have no idea what you could possibly be waiting for. His WNBA is the absolute must-play package of the summer. And right behind him is Buster in CFL. 62% in Canadian football lifetime at WagerTalk.com. And he's also a perfect 4-0 to start the Canadian Football League season. Just go over to WagerTalk and check it out. $7.99 regular for Buster's CFL. It's $4.99 up on special. And the CFL goes all the way through November. These are both must-play packages. And lastly, Kevin Dolan does have a play on the Pacquiao fight. You can check that out at WagerTalk.com. Last game on the board, Dave, Colorado, San Francisco. Colorado, 3 games above 500. San Francisco, 10 games below 500. 71% of the tickets are being written on Colorado right now. They're the away team. They're favored at minus 115. Very low total at 7.5. Pomerantz versus Gray. This total seems low to me. I understand that San Fran doesn't exactly light it up on a regular basis, but they did put up a 7, 11, and an 8 in their last 3 of their last 4 games. Pomerantz not pitching well on the season, not pitching well in his last 3 games. And John Gray, although extremely consistent, is letting in over 4 runs a game himself. So I look at the over in this game, Dave. Where are you going sidewise?
Well, the market is really making a statement on this game. They're, I guess you'd have to put it in the sharp money category. All over the Giants. Lines dropped 20, 25 cents from the open, and big on the under. That's dropped a full run.
Yes.
8.5 to 7.5. I don't disagree with either of those. I lean Giants in this game. Look, they're having a little bit of they lost yesterday, but the Giants actually had a good weekend in Arizona. A little positive flow. Pomerantz has been better at home, considerably better at home than he's been on the road, which is not surprising. As you know, obviously San Francisco's a pretty good park to pitch in, and lefties can really do well there. And John Gray he remains John Gray. Actually pretty good last time out, and his numbers are okay. But when comparing the sabermetrics that I have a tendency to look at, Pomerantz actually matches up about even when you factor in the home ballpark. That's very important. On the road, Pomerantz has been an absolute train wreck. But at home, not too bad. I had the line held in the minus 135 range in the Rockies. I probably would have taken the Giants here. I probably won't at plus 105. I mean, I'm just not getting the price I want now, but just ignoring where the market's going with it, I would lean to the Giants in this game.
Yeah, look, the Giants haven't earned my money yet this year. Colorado is coming off a 3-game sweep against the Dodgers and really need to start winning some ball games. They find themselves second in the NL West. And I mean, you talk about what's going on in baseball right now. And Dr. Chuck, before we get to you, I mean, other than the NL Central, Jesus, I mean, there's no races going on. I mean, the Yankees are 8 over Boston, Minnesota 8 over Cleveland, Houston 6.5 over Texas.
And that's why anybody who argues against them adding a second wild card, you'd have no races.
Yeah.
You got great races for the wild card.
Oh yeah, and especially in the NL. I mean, in the NL, you look at the wild card, and you've got, I mean, even the Mets are only a few games out in the wild card. I mean, there's barely, other than Miami, every single team in the National League, other than Miami and San Francisco, are in the hunt for the wild card. And yeah, Dave, I mean, a whole different show, but I don't know how they don't put us another 3 wild. I mean, it's absurd. It's ridiculous. I mean, imagine being a Toronto Blue Jay fan right now. Anyway, Dr. Chuck, where are you going in this Colorado-San Fran game?
Yeah, it's interesting you said, like, without that second wild card, there's just no intrigue. I think it was this point last year where the Astros, Indians, and Red Sox had already sewn up their divisions. De facto, and the Indians weren't even that good. And it was done by this time last year, and we're heading in that same direction. And, I mean, Boston and Cleveland could maybe make runs. I doubt anybody in the West does, but it's still unlikely with how Minnesota and the Yankees are actually for real on offense.
Yeah.
With this game tonight, I kind of thought I was already thinking it was a little strange just because it doesn't, Pomerantz just has terrible looking numbers. His sabermetrics are good, but not to the public. He looks awful. And the Giants look awful because they just think they don't score any runs. And it seems like when they think of the Rockies, they think of scoring and they think of winning, and they are in second place with above 500 record. I thought it was already hung kind of low, and then it just plummeted off of no money or off of no tickets. And so I think it's 3 out of 4 tickets on the Rockies, and the Giants are going to be favored here soon. So
it is 3 out. It is 3 out of 4 tickets. The Rockies are riding about 71% of the tickets.
Yeah, and right. And I think Pomerantz is going to be a favorite by the time the first pitch goes, and that will keep me away as well. But I kind of thought it was going to go the other way. We're going to get pretty good value on the dog, I thought, tonight, because Pomerantz is ugly and nasty, and I like to back him at home. And I think Dave was getting into it as well. And, John Gray is... he's just kind of another Rockies pitcher. The good Rockies pitcher seems to only excel at home, and they don't seem to be that good on the road. And I think the Giants win this game.
That's the show, boys. First pitch in the bag tomorrow. Me, Dave, and Teddy covers. Should be a fun one. Make sure to check out Bobby Liggs' WNBA, Buster Sports' Canadian football. Carmine is rolling in soccer right now. And it's $9 Monday. So head over to WagerTalk and try one of our guys. It's only $9 today. Thanks everyone for watching. It's a real pleasure. I'm building a studio in my house, so these shows will be a hell of a lot better and more professional come a month from now. And the first piece of equipment arrived today, so I'm excited. Dave, Doctor, pleasure, my friends.
Same here. Let's do it again tomorrow.
Pleasure.
Okay, be good.
Thank you so much.
Later, everyone.